Went to the finals 6 straight times.
Today,
God damn, with
welcome
Cleveland,
to the LADE Show. We got a very, very special guest, the current assistant coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. He went to the finals 6 straight times, won 3 championships.
That's impressive.
One of the greatest skills coaches of all time.
Word.
Look at his resume. His name is Phil Handy.
Coach
Welcome
Handy.
to the LADE Show, my man.
It's a pleasure to be here with you guys, man. Appreciate
If you want
the
to handle, look him up.
appreciate the invite.
Look him up.
Word up. If you're trying to get better, look him up. You went to the finals 6 straight times.
Trying to be like you, dog.
Nah, well, I almost went there 3 times, but that's impressive.
I tell you what, man. I don't even.
But you know, you had Braun on the scenes, right? LeBron was
Yeah,
his leader,
I
right?
mean, you've been there.
Yeah.
You know, going to the finals, man. You
That
have to have
shit
a
is
good
hard.
team. It's hard. People don't understand how hard it is to win in the NBA.
Word.
But to go to the finals, not just the talent, you gotta have a little luck too.
Yeah.
Right? Something along the way in the playoffs has to happen.
You need health.
You got to have health. And I look back on that run, man, and it was just for me in my own personal journey. I even look at that and say it was incredible to be a part of that.
Yeah.
As a coach, to be a part of some of the coaching styles with some of the players I had a chance to coach, and then the preparation.
Yeah.
Again, you know the preparation, man, going into that is just it's in depth. What you do to your body, what you do to your mind, all the things that you have to do to prepare to try to compete for a championship.
Yeah, you're away from your loved ones. Well, your teammates become your family, really.
Become your family, man.
Yeah.
That's a long grind, right?
Word up.
That's a long grind. So, man, it became like an addiction.
Yeah.
You know, once you get there, man, you
You can't nothing else.
You wanna-
don't settle for nothing else.
you want to get back.
I can dig it.
You want to get back, man. So that was been a great part of my career as a coach.
100%.
And I feel like you kind of created your own blueprint. Like, we got to back up a little bit. You never even wanted to really be a coach like that, right? You had your business, you're training players, you were good.
Correct.
And then it was Mike Brown, right?
Correct.
Reached out to you and was like, "Yo, we got this position, we got Kobe." It's like, just kind of speak about that. Like, you weren't that wasn't in the books for you.
Yeah, when I retired, I played 10 years professionally myself, most of the time in Europe. But when I retired, I wanted to be able to impact the game of basketball in a way that really hadn't been done. And so for me, it was about training.
Yeah.
And training and coaching, they kind of go hand in hand nowadays. But back then, 99, 2000, there was no training industry. There was a few guys that were doing it, but that was my motivation, really to help high school kids. I wanted to start, working with some high school kids because I saw a lot of kids have a lot of confidence issues.
Yeah.
And you can have a coach that can build you up, or you can have a coach that can tear you down.
That's a fact.
And for me, it was more about, how can I get into this industry and help young athletes just build confidence more than anything. And it just kind of morphed into a business for me. I wasn't even expecting to train what I would say NBA athletes. It was more about the high school kids. And it just kind of took a life of its own. And it was about a 13-year journey, man. And Mike Brown, he hit me up about the job. At that point, I had worked with a lot of NBA players. I worked with a lot of college kids, high school kids. And Mike hit me with the opportunity. And I had to ponder on it for a while.
Yeah.
Because I was running my own business. I work when I want, travel when I want. I was on my own clock, on my own dime. And I kind of got used to that. But I was also in a mindset of, I wanted to test my own skill set, as a trainer. And so when the opportunity came for me to be a part of Mike Brown's staff with the Lakers in 2011, Kobe was a big part of that for me.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it. And whether you know it or not, you were a big part of that.
I wish we'd have got to hook up.
Even though you weren't on that team, there was 2 dynamic pieces for me that I was just like, man, having the opportunity to work with and train athletes like this, it was going to push me, for me to see if I really knew what I was doing. And that was the real motivation behind it for me to take that job, that opportunity. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to work with you.
Yeah.
But that was a big part of it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, like you said, you trained high school level, probably done college, you've done NBA. and you've trained guys like Kobe, LeBron, Kawhi, Kyrie. What do you think separates those guys like Kobe, Kyrie, LeBron, Kawhi? Like, what separates them from everyone else?
Well, I think the first thing is they got a God-given talent. They are physically gifted with some kind of natural ability, right? And then on top of that, their desire to work. There's levels to it. There's levels to how guys work. Mm-hmm. You know it. You've seen it. There is actually a level of how guys commit themselves, and not just the work on the floor, but how you take care of your body. How do you eat? What do you do in the weight room? How do you sleep? Mm-hmm. There's this whole package of how these guys approach their game from a mental standpoint and then the physical. You move into the physical space, how much time do they spend on the floor working on their craft? It's a big combination of a lot of things. It's not just one thing. Mm-hmm. The physical gifts that they're blessed with already, and then you add into the mix that they were unafraid of the work. I'll use that term. Unafraid of the work. They're unafraid to push themselves to the limits every day to see how great they could become.
Guys that are that good, no matter how cocky that they are, the reason why they are that good is because they have a little bit of humility in them, and that little bit of humility in them is that they are working on their weaknesses all the time. So you got to see like guys like Kobe and Kyrie, where he's like, damn, what's their weaknesses? You know what I'm saying? Cut one move off, they hit you with the next move. Cut that move off, they hit you with that move. Then the bucket.
So like, what are things that like people don't see, like with Kobe, LeBron? You play with Kobe. Like, what are things behind the scenes that no one sees that really like what physically are they doing that sets themselves apart? Like, obviously aside from God-given talent, but like I'm sure there's hours like Kobe in the gym, like before everyone else, and just like really dedicating his life.
Well, Kobe trained himself to like Ali used to do, like to be tired, to put himself in that, wherever he needed to be. I don't know how the fuck he got there, because he hardly slept. But whatever he needed to do, like to be tired, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that story you got with when he told you to be at the gym at a certain time, and like you thought it was at night, and he really meant like 5 a.m. Like,
hey man, that was an honest mistake, right? that was an honest mistake. But to LO's point, man, I think that mindset of pushing yourself to exhaustion and being able to operate in that space, right? That's a tough space to be in, and most people are not comfortable. Mm-hmm. They're not comfortable being tired and really trying to go, another step. Yeah. It's a big thing. You talk about players like Kobe and Bron, the KDs of the world, Kawhis, the Kyries, Giannis. You think all these dudes, man, they've seen every coverage. Mm-hmm. So their intellect. Yeah. People don't really talk about their intellect too.
That's right.
You remember how crazy?
Because you take a player like Tim Duncan. Like it was he was weak when he got double teamed in the post, but then later in his career, you seen when double team, boom, he just started to pick you apart.
They had to figure it out.
Yeah,
man.
They all figure it out.
When you're elite like that, every team is going to try to figure out a way to stop you. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see multiple coverages. So their IQ is a big part of it too, where people don't really talk about how smart they are and how much they study the game, and they're prepared for their opponents on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, because LeBron is he's like, I told you about this, like Einstein of basketball. If you think about it, he took 3 rookie coaches to the NBA Finals.
Yep.
I don't even know his high school coach.
His high school coach is legendary.
Is he?
Yeah, man. If you ask Bron about his high school coach.
Yeah, well, he had to be, because he passed a lot of knowledge, and the God given knowledge.
Well, the other thing
LeBron
too
has.
is coachable.
Yeah.
People don't give him enough credit. And I'm all of them dudes, yourself included. Like I've learned as a coach that elite players they want to be coached.
I know some dudes that's good enough to be in the NBA, and like they were not coachable, and that's the reason why they never really hit their stride.
That's a big thing. It's a collaboration between coach and player. It's not one or the other. It's a true collaboration.
That's a fact.
Players have to be willing to listen to the coaches, and coaches have to be willing to listen to players as well. That part of it is something, again, that people don't talk about. The collaboration of elite players and the expectation that they have from coaches, right? The game plan, the preparation, what does our practices look like? All of that stuff, they want that. They want the structure. And I think where the disconnect comes is when they don't have that structure and they're not pushed from their coaches. So I've always found that elite players, man, they want to be coached. And me as a coach, I want to be pushed to be elite myself. So I want to accept that challenge from players at that level to where I can be, be great myself every day.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about because I know, like we said, you've coached some of the greatest players ever. What are some of the things that they've actually taught you when you're there teaching them? Like, what have you learned from them?
Man, I do more learning. I tell people all the time, I do more learning than teaching. And that's a great way for me to continue to be a teacher. When you're working with elite athletes, there is something that's in them that's helped them get there, right? So my job is to figure out how to continue helping you be elite. How do you continue to improve your skills? So for me as a coach, my very first question to Kobe, to Bron, to Kyrie, to Kawhi, to any of these guys is, how can I help you? What areas of your game do you want to improve? That's my very first question to those guys because they're already at a point of, they have their own self-motivation, right? They work on their game. They know what they like. But there's an element of they all have this mindset of, I have to improve somewhere. And so my best asset as a coach is to figure out what that is and help them arrive at that point. And so anytime I step on the floor with athletes, I don't care if it's youth, I don't care if it's male, female, there's always something that the athletes teach you. Better way to communicate, better way to help them get better. There's always better ways to train. So it's just things that I'm always paying attention to the athlete, and they tell you things, whether it's be verbal or through their body. There's always something that you can learn from athletes when you're on the floor with them.
Are there any similarities you would say like between LeBron and Kobe?
A lot. There's a lot of similarities in how they approach the game. I think if you talk to Bron, his time with Kobe on that Olympic team,
right.
And he talk about that a lot, how he watched Kobe and learned some things about, man, okay, what does it take to stay on top like that? Being in the weight room, what does he eat? How does he sleep? All of these things. There's a lot of similarities in the way Bron approaches every day. His weight room work, his court work, his, watching film, and then just how he takes care of his body.
Right.
Well, I think the
38.
The similarities in them is they're both winners, really.
No question.
On and off the court. Basketball,
right.
Non-basketball. So what do winners do? How do winners live? How do winners think? Plus they both have in common.
Different players, different work of body, body of work as an athlete. But their approach to the game, like LO said, man, there is a formula to it. And some people are willing to do it and some aren't.
I mean, we see LeBron, 38 years old, and the way he carries himself, his body, his conditioning. And, clearly, it's not like it's happening by luck or chance. He's putting in the physical work. And I also want to speak about the mental side, both of you guys. Player, coach, also player. But, how big and important is the mental side of the game? Especially the bubble. Literally being trapped in a bubble and winning a championship. What is that mental side of the game?
Yeah, I want to see, but it's crazy because it's too bad that that bubble team is not together. Because I guess in the bubble, I don't know how it was formed, but y'all were in each other's face all the time.
Right.
All y'all had was each other. So y'all had the bond in that time. So obviously y'all was the best team on the court and probably socially as a team because y'all had to really bond. So that was a good look just for the whole LA to look at.
Man, you know what they did, LO? They spent a lot of time. So the way they had it set up, we were in a big hotel, and every team had their own floor, pretty much the whole floor for your teams. Our guys, man, them dudes played Madden 24/7.
Video games,
all that. They had a league, they had competition.
I remember I was talking to Quinn about that.
They had an escape to once we got off the court that they found another way to bond. Just through that game, and they spent a lot of time together in that space. I think more importantly in the bubble though, Rondo, man, his approach, and I'm going to use him as an example, but that whole team, they went into the bubble with the mindset of what are we here for?
Yeah.
And I had always said that the team with the toughest mental fortitude is going to win in the bubble. That's what it was all about. And so they were all on that page. And Rondo, man, specifically, he was locked in.
Yeah.
Like, when Rondo broke his hand and he missed, like, I don't know, the first 3-4 weeks of the bubble, he was in our coaches' meetings on Zoom. He was just, man, how can I still have an impact? What way can I help the team and be, you know, I want to learn what you guys are doing. And his voice, his basketball acumen, his IQ was really important to helping the mental side of what we did. And it was just really, man, those dudes understood that they were there for one reason only. And that was to try to win a championship.
I mean, you were part of 3 championship teams. And I kind of want to ask if there are any similarities you see between those 3, and then if there are any between those 3 and our current team right now.
Man, LO brought up something about that team that we had in 2020. I think that team had, every piece that you can think of a team needs. You had active bigs between JaVale and Dwight. That combination of them two, they were one.
Yeah, rim protectors.
Man, they were just one hell of a big, you know, because
and dirty bucket getters. And
when one stepped off the floor, the other one stepped in and filled a role. You know, you had Danny Green, who was, you know, a 6'6", 3-and-D shooter. KCP, another defender. Alex Caruso, another defender. You had Rondo, you know, intelligence. You had Bron. You had AD.
AD.
You know, you had Markieff Morris. You know, we had so many pieces. You had JR. There was so many different pieces to that team. Everybody filled a role. I think that's what every championship team has to have. You have to have elite players, and then you got to have
that team. Will kick this team's ass if you exit LeBron out.
Easy,
if LeBron got to sit down and watch them teams
easy.
play.
I mean, also not like with Kobe passing, like they all went through that together. You know, the games canceled and just being together.
A lot of things tied into that, man. But the team was really good. You know, I think Frank Vogel did a great job of having a plan, and our staff of just how do we utilize everybody on this team and let them be at their strength. You know, championship teams you have to have closers. You got to have a closer. You know, you have to have somebody that's really elite that you could just put the ball in their hands and say, go make a play. No matter what we draw, just go make a play.
For you or somebody else.
So you have to have that. And then the supporting cast around them. You have to have players around the elite guys that know how to play. They know their role.
They got to buy in.
Right.
Know their role. You know, so the similarities between, you know, the teams that we had in Cleveland, you know, you had Kyrie, you had Kevin Love, you had Bron. And then you had the J.R. Smiths, the Iman Shumperts, all the other Richard Jeffersons, the Channing Frys, all the other pieces around those guys that were just high-level role players. Same thing in Toronto. You had Kawhi, you had Kyle Lowry, and then you could take your pick.
Yeah,
Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, Pascal, OG.
When you name off a championship team, you're thinking that they light, but then you start naming them.
And you see the pieces.
Toronto,
the similarities are there. You got elite players, and then the role players are just elite. I mean, and then you take that team that we had. We just talked about all of those guys. So those are the similarities that I saw.
Right.
And the biggest thing is, like LO said, is the buy-in. You know, you're always going to have ups and downs through the season. You know, guys are not happy about playing time or shots or whatever. That's normal. But when it comes winning time, everybody gets on the same page and they understand what it's about.
Yeah, I think it's incredible how Russ has fit in so well coming off the bench. Like, no one would have thought he would come off the bench, and boom, as soon as he starts coming off the bench, he's going crazy. And, like, the crowd, like, the fans, like, from a fan standpoint, being at every game, from them going to booing him, and then he steps on the floor and goes nuts. Like, I think it's incredible. And I want to speak about that buy-in factor and the trust that you were just speaking about. And also you, when you were playing, like, you won a couple of championships. Like,
well, yeah, just like Russ, I was, I gave into being coming off the bench, and I was about to be a fucking free agent. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to take money out of my pocket. Be a fucking free agent, you know what I'm saying? Fucking come off the bench. But I love my team, you know what I mean? I love my city. I ain't want to go nowhere, so I made a decision. It led to 2 championships. Hopefully, rest, come off the bench. Hopefully, we can fucking just make the playoffs. What you think about that, Phil? We can make the playoffs?
Oh, for sure.
Huh?
No question.
I know we are.
No question.
Because I know hopefully when guard James start getting closer to the scoring title, hopefully that'll spark the team up a little bit.
Health.
It's all about health.
Like you said, health is everything.
Word up.
You
The
know,
whole
you have-
thing.
Have health, man. You don't always have a star-studded team.
Yeah.
Like I said, I go back to the roles, role players, and everybody buying into the roles that are in front of them. You don't do that, you don't have a chance to win. So everybody has to be on the same page, and you got to be healthy. You got to take a little bit of luck. You know, last couple of years we haven't had either one. You know, we had a lot of injuries, a lot of bad luck, but that's just part of the game. That's part of it, man. You got to. It comes with the territory. You try to put yourself in the best position to win games as possible, and those guys that are the next guys up,
Right.
you know, they have to do their work to where they can stay ready. You know, that's the phrase of staying ready for when
they
your name gets
got the
called.
perfect dude around them to keep them ready.
Well, you know, I don't do it by myself, man. We got a great staff.
Yeah.
We got a great staff of guys that love to work. They bring energy every day. And, you know, it's always something where you don't really see what goes on behind the scenes.
That's a fact.
Right? You see the wins and losses, or you see what happens on the floor, but people don't always get to see what goes on behind the scenes and the daily work. And then just the mixing. You know, some days we come in as coaches, man, we don't know who's playing.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to figure out, all right, well, this guy's hurt today, that guy's hurt. Okay, on to the next. You know, we got to try to fill in the gaps and do the best you can. You know, and everybody has to stay ready.
Who's the trainer?
As far as
on the Lakers, who's the trainer? I know Gary Vitti was the trainer.
Gary
That's
V.
my brother, but who's the trainer now?
Roger Sancho is
Roger
is
Sancho?
the head trainer. Roger's got some rings under his belt too.
Yeah.
He was with the Warriors for a long time.
Okay.
So he's got championship pedigree. But it's a collective effort, man. Everybody in that building, he shows up every day trying to do the best they can.
I hear that.
We got to talk about LeBron real quick. He's about to, you know, obviously pass Kareem. And I wanted to ask both of you guys, do you think...
Guess.
Go ahead. Say it.
If they retire his number, if you
No, we're not there yet.
Right.
My question is, do you think LeBron passing Kareem will be the greatest NBA, the greatest moment in NBA history? Just think about it.
Or
I mean,
just in general.
that's a tough question.
Greatest moment in NBA history? I mean,
we thought that was untouchable.
One of,
as a fan,
it'll be one of.
from watching it, from me watching the NBA since I
You
was
call him
like
God James,
6,
so I mean that would be.
I don't know any moment that would be bigger than
I mean,
catching cash.
Some people are different. Everybody's got a different opinion.
Right.
That's definitely going to be.
You know
look,
what I mean?
man, that's the pinnacle. That's definitely going to be.
That's a lot to put on a player, but
That's a lot of buckets, bro.
The fact that he's not even a score first guy.
They said it the other night. 38,000 points. That's a lot of buckets,
and his
man.
best attribute is he do this. He give it up.
Well, that's what they've always said. He's not a scorer.
Shit me.
He's just a basketball player.
Yeah,
bro.
well, you're right.
That's a good question, man. That's going to be one of the best moments in NBA history for sure. I don't think anybody really ever thought that Kareem's record would be broken. You know, at least when I was growing
even
up,
the greatest ones, even the greatest bucket getters.
when MJ retired, I was like, all right, well,
It's over
I
now.
don't know.
There's nobody chasing it.
You know, and man, come on. Look, Bron's body of work is what it is.
Longevity.
But I would be surprised.
God James?
That's what he called him. God James.
God James.
That's what he
God
called him.
James.
Years playing at the way he's playing in year 20.
I'm going to tell him myself. I think I'm going to go, what's the name of that shit?
Huh?
Nah, it was not.
Well, you're gonna be there, right?
Hell yeah.
Wherever it is, I already told
like
him.
a groupie for the next, when we start getting closing in, I'm going to turn into like the God James groupie. I'm going to start popping up with God
I'm
James
with you, bro.
t-shirt.
I'm with
Sign
you.
this, sign my text, bro, James. Nah, for real.
It's gonna be a special moment, man. To be, to be able to sit there and witness that. That's Who knows when it'll happen again?
Never.
Comes down to just being.
No, every record is broken to be broken.
At some
again.
point.
You know what I'm saying? It's broken to be broken, but it's gonna take a long time. And it's gonna take see, I don't know if like
the key to it, LO, is the longevity. You said it.
That's what
longevity, but like Kobe, he didn't have to say it. You knew it through his play, who he was trying to chase. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know if a kid coming up is gonna have the spirit and the game enough to be like, yo, I'm trying to catch LeBron James without being intimidated by it. You know what I'm saying?
Top of the food chain, dog.
It's probably like an 8-year-old kid, maybe like who knows where you're at.
Well, the key that you just said, though, man, the energy.
Yeah, you got to have that shit in your spirit. That's the God in you got to tell you, you got to want to do that.
That dude loves the game, dog. There's no, if you ever watch, sometimes he'll post a story, he got 6 or 7 TVs on, all hoop. And he definitely loves the game, man, for sure.
I want to get your thoughts on Wembanyama because he's a freak. Like, just his height and his skill set. Victor Wembanyama.
7'4".
Yeah, boy.
He gonna be a problem.
That's different. That's the LA look. You
already know. I know. I got to see an eye test
because the way
I got to see an eye test. That boy get picked.
Come on, dog. The way you played, you was one of the first. Like,
man, he's 7'4" with the geezer shooting it like Steph.
He shoot it easy too. Like,
I'm gonna probably say the team that he get picked to is gonna be a competitor really quick.
I don't even want it's for me. I haven't even really tried to put my mind on what this kid is going to be.
Because if he go to Oklahoma City,
with all that
Tim
young
and
talent
Chet
over
and
there, they got some young talent over there.
And then who else is playing bad? Who got a chance to get him?
Rockets.
Houston Spurs.
There's a few.
And then if he go with San Antonio, if he go with a Pop. As a pro, that might be the best thing for him. But then if he go to Houston with Jalen Green and them, they running and gunning. Whoever you add him to is be like,
and the kid is just
put
a baby,
you over
man.
the top.
He's just a baby. So you start adding in the other elements of the weight room and figuring out his body and really figuring out his game.
Yeah, if he stay injury free, he could be tough.
It's a problem, man.
If he don't get out there and break.
There's been nothing like that. That's different.
That's like Lou Alcindor with the heat check. Not Kareem. That's Lou Alcindor with the heat.
That
with
is
the heat.
Generational talent, right?
You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, the biggest stars in the NBA have talked about it. Like we've never seen this before.
It's one of those things, man. I hate the hype train because you sometimes just want athletes to be able to step into their future,
right.
and just blossom.
But I mean,
but it's
he living with the time. We living with the time
for sure.
We are exposed to him
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? 10 years ago, we wouldn't even know who he was.
Right,
that's a fact.
But we living in the world.
That's a fact. But I tell you what, every time I see him play, he getting loose. He don't disappoint. Like the few games that I've seen,
he come with it.
He coming with it.
It ain't like no 8 and 15.
Getting loose, man. And I'm just like, all right, young fella. You don't know about that Bruce Lee strength.
Yeah. Now, when you playing with aggression, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he got any type of nastiness with him, then it's going to be tough.
I think you have to, though. Yeah. You 7'4".
Yeah.
Cass is always going to try to test your handle.
Yeah, everything about
They
him.
want to test everything at that size. So, everything I've seen from the kid, man, is pointing in the right direction.
We're going to finish it off. What we usually do is we'll do, like, some quick hitters and, like, short question, short answer. The first one I have for you is I asked Lamar this. What do you think is more impressive? We had Luka 60, 20, and 10. And then we had Donovan 71, 8 and 11.
I forgot about that. How you forget about the 71?
Like, that's, like, different.
60 what?
20 and 10.
Luka had 60, 20, and 10. They were down 9 with 30 seconds
I'm a
left.
team first guy, so I'm going to take 60, 20, and 10 more than 71. And 9?
Donovan 11 assists, 10 assists. Luka 24.
LO, you know, of all people, 60 is 60.
Yeah.
40 is 40.
Yeah.
Once You know how hard it is.
Yeah, I know.
You have to be a bucket. You have to be a bucket. And again,
But once you get like the motherfuckers that's going 50 and like once you get there, you blanking out. You shooting the ball, you ain't even really
going in, bro.
You ain't even thinking.
as a player having to guard that dude, as a team having to try to scheme for that, once you get to 40,
But listen, okay, this is what I'm saying about a good coach, right? I think coaches get caught up in the game.
oh, no doubt.
Because
no question.
When I know the killer bean is, of course, I was with him, feel me? That game that we played,
The
what's his name?
81?
Yeah.
The Toronto game?
Yeah. Who was the coach? Mitchell. We played for Indiana.
Was it Sam Mitchell?
Yes. I'm sitting there the whole time like, yo, when the fuck you gonna double team? I want to play too. Like I'm just sitting here watching. This motherfucker ain't making no switches. You ain't going to no zone, no nothing.
Hey, maybe, dog. Maybe.
So he deserved to be right where he at in the booth right now. Get him off the sideline. You ain't switch no nothing. I wanted to play too. Just watch me, 81. God bless.
Like
me.
what's going through your mind? Like you're there and Kobe's having one of the greatest scoring performances in NBA history. What's going through your mind as it's happening?
Get him the ball. Set a pick. Free him up. I want him to get 100.
Right.
Fuck yeah. Like,
The basket looked that big.
yeah.
It might have looked bigger.
Probably was bigger. And it was crazy about the game. Like, it wasn't like he wasn't hitting shit behind his back or over his neck. No crazy, just the will.
Just a bucket.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's impressive. It's impressive. Like with Donovan done his that move for him to Cleveland has been a great move for him
I
in that
loved
organization. But him and Luka, man, watching those.
Fuck Utah.
Once you start getting up into.
I got a little. When I think about some of them places,
What happened with them? I know Boston shook your bus. You know that, right? Boston actually shook his bus. Like was that 2010?
Nah, 2008 when they beat
Bro, they
us
were
by
shaking
like
the
60.
team bus.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us leave. They started shaking our bus.
Hey, bro, you know the finals, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get an edge any way you can, bro.
Thanks.
Hey, listen, when we
But
was in
nah,
Toronto, hold on. When I was coaching in Toronto, the fans would be outside of Golden State Hotel 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Not let them sleep.
Going nuts. Y'all not getting no sleep. They was out there.
Hold up, when y'all was playing in Golden State?
Toronto.
Oh.
We played Golden State in the finals, dog.
The fans was-
was
yo.
outside the hotel. Like,
But I'm telling you,
y'all ain't getting no sleep. There would be no
fans
sleeping.
are short for fanatic.
For sure.
Fuck
Psycho.
Utah. And fuck Phoenix, huh? No, seriously.
Those must have been some of your tough series.
Yeah, no, it was, but I don't like the way. You know, like you could say fuck me or fuck you. You know what I mean? But don't try to like
So fans back
demasculate.
then are fans
and-
back then worse than they are today?
I would say yeah.
More loyal?
To their team, hell yeah. Okay, I'll give you an example. Remember that remember that photo shoot? They was questionable, like the all-white photo shoot that Kobe did? Mm-hmm. We get to Utah. These niggas got that shit on every...
They did their homework, dog. They did their homework, man. They ready.
on every fucking seat?
Every advantage they can get.
And then on one occasion, in Utah, this motherfucker had a blow-up doll and a French-made outfit, and it had a sign around his neck that said "No means no."
Ooh. Yeah, they went there.
That's not even funny.
I was like, "Yo, I got to get that taken
That's
down."
crazy.
Hey, fans do their research, man.
That's going a little too far. They do.
They do their research.
And I'm not mad at them, but fan is short for fanatic, right?
That's a fact.
And I respect that.
Because they're just fans. They're not going to get fined. They're not
Yeah.
going to get, like, kicked out of the league.
But
Like,
I think it's like, is
Is there a fine line?
I think so.
That's crazy.
In human
I didn't know that was
decency,
crazy.
I would think so. You know what I'm saying?
That's
In
crazy.
human decency, I would think so. We're all God's children.
Continuing with the quick hitters. This one's for Phil. Your favorite Kobe story?
Oh, man. I tell you, I didn't spend as much time as LO did with him, but it was something different every day with that dude. I was, he was explaining to somebody one time about what it means to be a shooting guard. It might have been Jody Meeks. It was a conversation, and it was talking about passing the ball. And the conversation went a few different ways, but at the end of the conversation, Cole was like, I am a shooting guard. I shoot
the ball
and I guard. There is no passing involved in that.
Shooting guard. Yo, that's crazy.
And he was
what's so crazy? Most people don't even think about that. They say shooting guard.
He said,
the guard that's supposed to shoot. The shooting
I
guard. I never even thought about that. Shoot and guard. That's what you're supposed to do with the shooting guard.
It was, man, there's so many of them, you know.
Yeah.
You know how to do it.
My shit, we was on the bus one day. We was like, after the game, he was like, yo, I'm better than Mike. I was like, word? Nah, I'm going to eat that and let that chill, but I don't think you better than Mike, Bean. I love you, but...
And it was just you, right? No one else heard that?
Nah, nobody heard that.
And what was his response to you?
You know, he'd be like...
Wait, do it again. Huh? Nobody... People...
Yeah, like, fuck out of here. Like, fuck out of here.
Oh, man.
Next. And this one is, I want Lamar to answer this one first. Does God James deserve...
God James?
Does LeBron deserve to have his jersey retired as a Laker? The fans want to hear this one.
I would say because he's getting he gonna catch Cat.
And he got Magic. Yeah?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Right now. Like, let's say nothing. Like,
Well, no, after he catch Cap, what he was gonna do?
No, I'm saying like championship-wise. He's got a final.
But he's getting it for
the
LeBron James to play and his impact on the Lakers in a short period of time. I don't think no player in Laker history besides Magic Johnson impacted the Lakers in such a short period of time as LeBron James did. Maybe Kareem. You know what I mean?
This is what, his fifth year, LeBron's?
That's Laker?
Yeah. Yep. 5th year. I've been here for 4.
Feel longer than that, right? Gave us a couple of flicks, a couple of movies and championship. Did the real LA thing. You feel me?
We still got at least one more in him.
I could dig it. Probably 2 more.
Yeah, that jersey will be in the rafters.
100%.
This is for Phil. What is one current player that you want to coach, and then one past player you wish you would have gotten the chance to coach?
Current players, I can't say that there's any. You know, I live in the present, man. I'm right here. I'm a Laker. I'm coaching the dudes that's in my uniform.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
That's how I am. Now, the one dude that I did want to coach,
You feel me?
this dude right here sitting next to me.
That's what I'm talking about.
I ain't gonna even hold you. Just
We'd have
because
shook
we on the
their ass
show.
up, Phil.
No, like seriously.
So close to it, too.
That was one of the things that when I took the Laker job, I had wrote some notes.
Yeah.
And just talking about players and, man, and your size, LO, and your skill set, the way you played, like being a complete player.
We'd have shook their ass up.
Man, I told Mike Brown, and Mike Brown even said it. I don't know if he ever told you this, but you were one of the main reasons why he took the job.
And I spoke to him right before the trade started, right before it happened. I spoke to him.
And that was a big thing for me, man. Like I was always a guy who wanted to coach players and work with players that can do multiple things. Because once you sharpen your skills in 3 or 4 different areas, what they gonna do with you?
Nothing. Call for help. Let me help.
For sure.
Next. We got 4 more. Which player made you most proud of the progress they made under you? I know I want to hear about Chrissy because we spoke about it a little before we shot the pod, but
You know, that's a tricky question for me. I've always been a coach that, because I was a former player and I knew how much work you had to put in, like, again, the word collaboration for me has always been truthful. I've never been a guy that's tried to take credit for what players do. Like, yes, I be in the gym, I help them, but you got to do the work. You have to be committed to that process. But I will say that, man, me and Kyrie are like thicker than thieves. My time with him, man, to see his development, but Kobe also played a big part in that relationship. You know, when I got to Cleveland, Kobe was very open about building a relationship with him and taking him in. But just to see Kyrie's development in his own space, his own mental, his ability to tap into his own, you know, understanding of how much work I have to put in, it was a lot of growth for him, because Kai was just a kid. He just liked to hoop.
Yeah, he
was
probably just been nice.
He was a hooper.
Like,
and when I first got to Cleveland, that was the first thing he said to me, like, Coach, man, I just like to hoop.
Yeah.
I don't really work on my game like that. But the transformation, seeing him take that leap, man, and really understand the value of working on his game and getting in the weight room to prevent his injuries, I was really happy, man, to see him take that trajectory. And, you know, to this day, I think that's still what he lives by.
Because he fucking them up out there.
The work he does.
Just a hooper.
Man.
He's a bucket.
Can't nobody stay in front of him.
No.
No.
Hey, man, I took a lot of flack for a comment that I made. And I'm going to say it here on this podcast again.
What's that?
I said, and I want people to understand, I said if Kyrie was 6'6", you would be looking at somewhat of a mirror of Kobe.
Yeah, because the
I remember
footwork.
His skill set.
Yeah, all
I'm
that
not
left
talking
hand,
about
right hand.
the mentality or the
Yeah, you're
but
right.
his skill
Footwork,
set,
all that left angles,
bruh,
understanding angles.
If
and all
Kyrie
that.
was 6'6", it would be a problem.
I can see that finishing.
You ask anybody in this league if they want to see that man at 6'6".
Nah. Understanding his opponent and all that type of shit.
No, sir.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh. I had a lot of good advice, man. My days coming up, my 52 years on this earth. My father was very old school, and he was very much into control what you can control. My dad really instilled that in me at an early age, of just understanding your work ethic is one thing that you can control every day. No matter how you feel, you can decide to get up and do your work. And so that's always kind of lived with me. You know, my work ethic has always been really at a high level as a player, as a coach. So I live by that. You know, and Kobe also gave me some great advice too. Stop caring about what people think about you. And, you know, so I've had a lot of great advice, man, but those two things have really stuck with me, you know, for a long time. You know, as a young adult coming up, and then as a grown man.
2 more questions. Who are the top 3 most underrated players ever for both of you guys? 'Cause
Underrated?
we always talk about the best players of all time. Who are the most underrated, like guys who have been in the league, who have been coaches, like around these guys and see, not just analysts?
Ooh, underrated. My God.
I know Lamar says Zebo.
Yeah, Zach Randolph, without a doubt. For me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We finished off one of the podcasts. You're like, yo, I need some time to think on that. You didn't even have an answer.
Underrated players?
Yeah.
I have 2. I don't have 3. I got 2 though. Rod Strickland is number 1.
Yeah, Ross Strickland underrated. 100%.
Rod Strickland. And then what the other one was, it didn't really get to mature, but Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy?
Boy, he was nasty.
He used to go at Cole. He used to try.
He was nasty.
He
and
was
I don't
tough.
think people really
He was fundamentally sound. Everything,
I
left,
think
right,
a lot of people, I don't
shifty
think people
between the legs.
really knew
Yeah.
what kind of game he had.
6'7".
Same with Rod Strickland. People didn't.
Geezer.
Rod was a 20-10 dude. Never made he was one of those guys that wasn't really picked for the All-Star. It wasn't. Those 2 guys, man, are definitely at the top of my list, you know, throughout their careers. I'd have to think about the 3rd one.
Lamar?
I would say Zebo, I would say deadlift strength. I don't know if you know who he was.
Who?
Deadlift strength.
Ooh, see, you don't even know who that
I was
is.
born in '99. So.
Yeah. And yeah, another player, Stacey Augman. I used to like lefty. He used to
The
defend.
deadlift strength one, though.
Yeah.
That's-
He was skilled.
Yeah.
On like
He
6'11".
was 6'11". Yeah, that's a nice one right there.
Yeah.
And then we can finish it off with your top 5 greatest all time. Doesn't need to be in order, but
All time?
because Phil, we just spoke about this with Matt Barnes, and Matt Barnes prefaced it with saying that most guys who don't have Kobe in their top 5 are guys like analysts, people who haven't really been in the game. And Lamar had Kobe in his top 5, but you'll notice a lot of
common sense.
You'll notice a lot of differences between analysts and players / coaches. So with that being said, like who, no order, it could be like who are your top
I think
5?
the top 5 is, I really honestly think it's subjective because you got all kind of people that'll put all kind of variants, and I don't think any of those will be wrong.
Right.
But for me, in no particular order, MJ, Bron, Kobe. See, this is where it gets subjective.
That's exactly where Matt stopped. That's where Matt stopped.
I'm telling you, because
it
you
depends
could
on what you
you
like,
could
how
go
you
a
like
myriad of ways. I could go Wilt, I could go Magic, I could go
You said
Kareem,
what? You said
I
Shaq
could go
and
Larry, I could go Shaq.
You said Shaq and Wilt, right?
There you go, Wilt.
I mean, there's a myriad of ways that you can go. That's why I said it's subjective.
tough.
I could go Akeem Olajuwon. You can go Tim Duncan. You can throw all kind of people in there.
Dominance. Or
People
best
got mad
player.
at you for not having Kareem in your top 5.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say Kareem. Then
But
you-
I agree with that.
I mean,
Wilt?
Kareem would have to be in my top 5, arguably just because of his stature.
Yeah.
He still holds that. He still holds that shrine right now.
For now,
Until Bron
couple more
gets it.
weeks.
But yeah, man, I would.
Mine's is Bron, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
You said Bean.
Bean, Magic Johnson.
And Matt was also like, "Yo, it can change. Like
It could,
it just
I'm telling
changed."
you,
That's 3 Lakers.
which is crazy. Which is crazy.
That's just stuff that fans like to hear.
Celtics is got Russell and Bird.
I would have to.
They trying to come in.
Bird
Bird
had
was
to
a
be on.
motherfucker.
He had to be
Yeah.
on that list, man.
Bird's a motherfucker. I'm gonna go play with Larry Bird. Fuck it.
Bird's a problem, and then you're not even talking about Shaq. You're not.
Yeah, Shaq.
I mean, it's just
Right.
That
It's
is
a tricky question.
All depends on like
man.
era and all that type
No
of shit.
question. That's why I say, man, that top 5, it could go any way.
Yeah.
It can go any way.
At the end of the day, like this is what I've learned. I'm only 23 now, but like when I was younger, I'd be like, "Yeah, Kobe's better than LeBron. Kobe's better than MJ." Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, like right now, it's like appreciate greatness while it's here.
It's hard to compare greatness.
And the players themselves, they don't discuss this stuff. They're just like, "Yo, like we both did our
Different
thing."
eras.
Yeah.
Different eras and different players. Right? I always kind of put it into different categories. To me, I think MJ is the fiercest competitor in my eyes. Like he's probably the fiercest competitor to put on shoes. Like I'm talking about from a sense of, if I get to the finals, I'm not losing.
Yeah.
I always looked at Kobe as being probably the
second.
most skilled,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the most skilled player.
Yeah.
Like skill wise, like just the most skilled. And then I always looked at Bron as like, he's the best all-around player to ever put on shoes. Play 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Those are 3 different things, right? Not to say that MJ is not skilled. MJ was super skilled, but I think his tenacity in here and in here, his will to win, it was just dominant. And then Kobe was just, well, let me take with MJ. Let me throw a little flair to it and put something on it. His skill package was just, so that's how I kind of broke those 3 dudes down, man. Just, I've always kind of put them in their own window.
Yeah.
3 different players, man, in different eras, man. And they all served the game at a high level.
Phil, we appreciate it. That was
Love.
probably our best episode.
Appreciate you, bro. When you get that head coaching job, you gotta look me up.
Yeah, you
Hell
say you want to coach,
yeah.
bro.
Facts.
You say you want to put it on notice. Lamar Odom
Facts.
wants to get into the coaching world.
That's a whole
Let's
fact.
get you there, dog.
That's a wrap. See you on the next one.